I used to run every part of Outbound myself: targeting, lists, copy, replies, reporting, and optimization, all dependent on me. The campaigns could produce results, but I had not built a system. If I stopped making decisions, the operation slowed down. Then I stopped treating cold email like separate campaigns. I began treating Outbound like an operating system with inputs, controls, constraints, and conversion points. Across B2B engagements, systems I built or managed have generated more than $8 million in qualified pipeline. That didn't come from one clever template. It came from building each part in the correct order. In this video, I will show you the complete order and a 4-week framework to audit your outbound engine. Here was the problem. I was not only the founder, I was also the market research, list builder, copywriter, campaign manager, reply manager, qualifier, scheduler, and analyst. Hiring another person wouldn't have fixed that. Without documented rules, I would have hired someone into the same chaos. They will still ask which company is qualified, which contacts matter, how to answer replies, and what to change when performance drops. That is not delegation. It's founder dependence with another salary attached. Your action is simple. Write every decision the founder makes between choosing a market and reporting revenue. Then mark which decisions have clear rules, which depend on memory, and which have no owner. That list shows where your system is fragile. The founder stops being the bottleneck when a trained person can follow the process without asking what happens next. The step is not buying domains, it's proving that Outbound makes economic sense. Start with the number of customers you want, then work backward. Suppose you want 2 customers each month. If you close 20% of qualified attended meetings, you need 10 qualified attended meetings. Now include show rate, booking rate, positive reply rate, and contact volume. That math tells you the market, data, infrastructure, and capacity you need. It shows whether the model can support your acquisition cost. Define your average contract value, gross profit per customer, customer lifetime value, realistic close rate, sales capacity, and maximum acquisition cost. Don't choose volume because another company sends a large number. Choose it because the revenue math requires it, and the reachable market supports it. Outbound is harder to justify when the offer is unproven, the contract value is too low, the market is tiny, or nobody can handle the conversations. Your action is to build a reverse calculator. Begin with customers, work backward to attended meetings, book meetings, interested responses, contacts, and emails. If the numbers don't work on paper, more software will not repair them. After economics, map the market before collecting contacts. Teams ask how many leads a database can provide. The better question is how many companies meet the buying criteria. Define company level rules, use industry, geography, revenue, employee count, business model, contract value, pain points, exclusions, existing customers, and recent outreach. Then estimate the total addressable market and the reachable market. They are not always the same. A company may fit but still remain unreachable or recently contacted. Market depth matters because high volume outbound consumes fresh accounts. A narrow vertical with fewer than roughly 50,000 reachable businesses may require more segments, geographies, or careful recycling. That is an observation, not a universal law. Your action is to create an ICP checklist before opening a contact database. Every company should pass it before you spend money finding people inside it. A smaller qualified market beats a large list built on weak assumptions. Now build infrastructure before increasing volume. Your domain should not carry the risk of cold outreach. A production system may use secondary domains, separate Google and Microsoft inbox pools, DNS records, warm-up, conservative limits, monitoring, suppression, backup capacity, and plant replacements. If infrastructure fails, targeting and copy cannot reach the market reliably. Inside Boost Hero, operating ranges have included roughly 8 to 20 production emails per inbox daily. That changes with inbox age, provider, history, and performance. It's not a universal rule. We have seen age Microsoft inboxes perform, warm-up changes produce roughly 2 to 4 times more positive responses in campaign groups. Some domains lost performance around the 4th month. These are internal observations, not promises. They taught us to treat domains like renewable resources. Replacement is planned, maintenance. Across the operating pool, we have about 90,568 emails of daily sending capacity. Don't copy that scale. Your action is to document domains, inboxes, daily limits, monitoring signals, rotation rules, and replacements before launch. Next comes data. One database shouldn't become your source of truth. The goal is not the biggest list, it's qualification that remains visible, repeatable, and auditable. Our current process uses Clay for qualification, enrichment, workflows, and data orchestration. Several enrichment and verification providers support the waterfall, identify qualified companies, then the correct roles, enrich contact information through several sources, verify each address, remove duplicates, suppress customers, previous opportunities, and companies contacted too recently. Separate or remove risky catch all addresses, then segment the list before launching. This often creates a smaller list that is useful when the removed contacts were irrelevant or risky. Your action is to inspect one current list. For every row, ask why the company qualifies, why the person matters, where the data came from, and whether the address passed the verification. If those answers are unclear, the list is not ready. Build the offer before polishing the copy. Copy cannot rescue an offer the market doesn't want. Your message should explain the audience, problem, outcome, credibility, reason for contact, and a specific next step. Keep the language simple. It should sound like one person writing to another. A three-touch sequence can work like this. Touch 1 presents the outcome or mechanism. Touch 2 adds context. Touch 3 reframes the problem and asks for a next step. We sometimes test touch 3 in a new thread. That is a task, not a universal requirement. Your action is to read the sequence aloud, remove jargon, long introductions, inflated claims, and sentences that don't help the prospect decide. Then ask a question. Would the offer be interesting if the copy were plain? If not, you have an offer problem, not a writing problem. Once the offer is clear, standardize campaign execution. Boost Hero uses smartly to manage sequences and campaigns. The platform itself is not the system. The standard is. For each campaign, define context, touches, sending period, volume, segmentation, owner, stop conditions, testing variable, and reporting period. We have operated three-touch sequences across 6-day sending cycles. Not every campaign needs 6 days. Execution must follow a clear, visible standard. Change one major variable at a time. Don't change the ICP, offer, copy, inbox pool, volume, and sequence length together. When everything changes, you cannot explain the result. Your action is to create a launch sheet with each setting and assumption. Before the next test, choose the variable you are changing. Keep the others stable. That gives you trustworthy data instead of a collection of guesses. Sending is only the beginning. The path is reply, capture, classification, human response, qualification, booking, confirmation, meeting, follow-up, reporting, and nurture. Every step needs an owner. Inside Boost Hero, our standard is generally to answer positive replies within 10 minutes during active working periods. Speed matters because interest loses value when nobody responds. But speed without rules can create bad meetings. Define who owns replies, how they are classified, what information is required, when qualification happens, who sends the invitation, how sales is notified, what confirmation says, how rescheduling works, and what follows a no-show. Also define how opportunities enter nurture and how customers enter suppression. A campaign has not built pipeline when replies disappear between the inbox and the meeting. Your action is to draw the reply routing flow on one page, assign one person to every handoff, test it with a real reply, and measure how long each step takes. Human judgment remains essential. Track metrics that connect activity to revenue. The order should be prospects contacted, emails delivered, interested responses, meetings booked, meetings attended, qualified meetings, opportunities, pipeline, revenue, acquisition cost, and payback. Reply rate helps diagnose a campaign, is not the final business result. The primary operating metric should be qualified attended meetings, followed by pipeline and revenue. Here is the system I will build. Week 1 covers economics and market. Calculate customers and meetings, define qualification rules, estimate the market. Week 2 covers infrastructure, acquire domains, configure inboxes, and DNS. Begin warm-up and create monitoring and replacement procedures. Week 3 covers data and offer. Build a test segment, enrich through sources, verify addresses, and write a clear sequence. Week 4 is the launch. Start below maximum volume, monitor deliverability and replies, respond quickly, track booked, attended, and qualified meetings. Change one major variable at a time. Your action is not to imitate Boost Heroes scale. Build a smaller system that produces trustworthy data and can expand later. Predictable outbound doesn't come from more emails, another AI tool, or a person managing undocumented work. It comes from building the system in order: economics, market, infrastructure, data, offer, execution, replies, sales, handoff, reporting, then control scale. When those stages are visible, a trained person can operate them without depending on the founder's memory. That is revenue engineering. Boost Hero installs and operates these systems for qualified B2B companies with a proven offer, a strong contract value, enough market depth, and sales capacity. Now carefully audit your system using the order from this video. That is where campaign interest becomes attended meetings and pipeline.